Call meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Prine.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Larkey,
Here.
Councilmember White, Councilmember Powell, Councilmember Pryan,
Here.
Councilmember Kraft,
Here.
Councilmember McCallum,
Here.
Councilmember Goff,
Here.
Councilmember Lawson,
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
We have a quorum. Personal appearances none. Unfinished business. Item 1, motion approving the final reading of Bill 2024-14.
An ordinance approving the 11th Amendment to the Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Contract between the City of Belton, Missouri and Y58 Partners, LLC for implementation of the Y Highway Marketplace Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Plan as amended.
Present. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Mayor, I'm struggling a little bit with this vote. I've had a few constituents from Ward 4 indicate they wanted a no, but I've not had very many people, and it's troublesome when you have a big thing like this on the ballot where people don't reach out and express how they want to do it. So I'm on the fence at the moment, so I'll see how anybody else's discussion is. I understand how having this will help us recoup some of the costs that we have built up in that TIF, and that's important. So at this particular point, I haven't made up my mind yet.
You lost you. All right. Go ahead.
Can you remind me what the current Valvoline's bringing in from a perspective? No.
Under Missouri law, we are unable to provide information that the public could utilize to identify a taxpayer or taxpayer's income.
All right. We had some kind of.
We have a back of the napkin math potentially.
I guess that's what I'm looking for.
We had estimates from the developer on what
That's what it was. Yeah. Can you remind me of what that was?
So I would estimate, a low estimate would be anywhere in the $1.5 to $2 million range in taxable sales. That's a low estimate.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I've asked this, and I haven't really gotten a good answer on this. Say the oil change is $100. The cost of their oil is $20. They could technically sell that oil for the $20 at cost, and do the rest of the deal in labor. And I know labor's not taxed anywhere in the state of Missouri. So, do we know how they're doing that, or do they have any idea? Or
That's why I say taxable sales. Taxable sales would be the
sales.
stuff that not include the labor.
okay.
Anybody else? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilmember Richardson,
Yes.
Pryan,
Yes.
Kraft,
Aye.
Goff,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Lawson,
No.
Mayor Larkey,
Yes.
Councilmember McCallum.
No.
Motion carries. 2, motion approving the first reading of Bill 2024-16.
An ordinance declaring the results of the annual election of municipal officers held in the city of Belton, Missouri on April 2nd, 2024.
Present. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do they have to, or can I just read it? Do they have to make, someone has to
No,
make?
we need to have both readings tonight, please.
Oh, sorry, motion for a second. Second.
We have a motion and a second for a second reading. Sorry. We have a motion and a second for a second reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you say no?
Oh, no, aye, sorry.
Sorry.
Hey, no, I'm old.
Motion carries. Motion approving the second reading of Bill 2024-16.
An ordinance declaring the results of the annual election of municipal officers held in the city of Belton, Missouri on April 2nd, 2024.
Present. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Richardson,
Aye.
Bryan,
Aye.
Mayor Larkey,
Yes.
Goff,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Kraft,
Aye.
McCallum,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Motion carries. 3, motion approving the first reading of Bill 2024-17.
An ordinance declaring the results of the election on a use tax question held in the city of Belton, Missouri on April 2nd, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
For second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for a second reading. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion approving the second reading of Bill 2024-17.
An ordinance declaring the results of the election on a use tax question held in the city of Belton, Missouri on April 2nd, 2024.
Present.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilmember Bryan,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Mayor Larkey,
Aye.
Goff,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Kraft,
Aye.
McCallum,
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consent agenda, 1 motion non-debatable to approve recommendations noted. Any member of the council may ask for an item to be taken from the consent agenda for discussion and separate action.
Present.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Communications, Councilmember Goff.
I have nothing except that I've enjoyed my time here and looking forward to Tuesday nights off. And just want everyone to know that it is rewarding to give back to your community. Not always fun, but half the time it is. And you do learn how much the people do for your city when you get on the council. The mayor, the council, the city manager, all the staff do an awful lot of work, and I wouldn't want their jobs. They're under a microscope every day, so I appreciate what they do, and I've enjoyed being here and knowing all of you, and looking forward to my Tuesdays off. Thank you.
Alex.
I just want to say thank you to, I'm going to use first names, do something crazy. Thank you to Perry, thank you to Rob, and thank you to Angela. I'm sure that your time and dedication will continue as it never really ceases when you live here. But I just want to just say thanks, and I've enjoyed working with you and watching you before I was working with you. And I just want to say participating in a board, running for city council, anything of that nature is important to the community, and I think today obviously highlights that. So,
Councilman Richardson.
I just want to thank the outgoing members that are going. I appreciate all your service that you've done, and congratulate the new ones that are coming in. Thank you.
Same. Thank you, Angela and Perry and Rob, who's not here. I appreciate your time and dedication, and welcome the new folks onto council tonight.
I'll just echo that. That was perfect.
Okay, well, I would like to,
Hold on.
oh,
You go first.
I've been debating about what I wanted to say. I would encourage all citizens to participate. Let their voice be heard so that way it gives us guidance. A few doesn't necessarily represent the totality.
There you go, using that.
Sometimes it's a struggle up here to make decisions about what we vote on. Now, I will miss you, youth that are leaving, and I will miss my buddy who's not here. He's already gone. So, thank you for your service, and thanks, Brett. Bless you.
turn.
Your turn.
Okay. Well, I wanted to start by congratulating our new council members and our citizens for making their voices heard. I've always said that I'm not a politician and that I was only on council to help fix some major problems our city was having. Over the past 3 years, we've made huge strides with those major problems. I'm thankful that we have an amazing city manager, backed up by incredible staff, and many on council that I fully trust will continue our path of transparency and excellence in citizen service. I'll end by saying thank you to all of the wonderful citizens, staff, and friends who've reached out to me to express their gratitude, and I want to reassure everyone that I will still continue to serve our great city of Belton. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'd like to say one more thing.
Absolutely.
I didn't bring it up, but I do want to say congratulations to Alex and to Patty. I voted for both of you. And our ward and the city is going to be in great shape with you all, both of you up here. Appreciate you running, Patty and you, Alex. So, welcome.
Again, just thank you for your service, both this time and the first time 20 years ago. So thank you.
We'll see him in 20 more.
Yeah. Thank you for your service. Appreciate everything you did and are going to do. So, and thank you, Rob, wherever you are. So, for your dedication and commitment to the council for the last 3 years. So, that's all I have. So, we'll go into recess now.
We have the plaques.
Yeah, recess and do you want to do that now?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be in recess for plaques and a little reception out in the lobby.
Sure does. You can't argue that. Yeah.
All right, come on up, Perry. All right, this says, in appreciation to Perry Goff for outstanding and dedicated service as a council member for the city of Belton, Missouri, from April 2006 to April 2010, April 2021 to April of 2024. Thank you for your loyalty and commitment to the city and to the citizens of Belton. Mayor Norman K. Larkey Sr. and City Council. All right. In appreciation to Angela Kraft for outstanding dedicated service as council member for the city of Belton, Missouri from April 2021 to April 2024. Thank you for your loyalty and commitment to the city and the citizens of Belton. Mayor Norman K. Larkey and City Council. All right, now we're in recess for reception. let's get back at it. So, Alex, you come down. Wanda, Carla. Who else?
Look at that, he's already ordering you around.
Is that just Allison and Patty? You gotta stand up.
When we get done, I'll get a copy back from you before measures to keep, and I need you to sign somewhere. Is that good for the picture? Okay. All right, please raise your right hand. You'll repeat after me, and after I say I, you'll state your name. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Missouri, all the laws of the state affecting constitutional charter cities, and the charter and ordinances of the City of Belton, and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge my duties as council members during my continuance therein. And faithfully demean myself in the office to which I have been elected, so help me God. Thank you. Congratulations.
All right, take your seats. Wonder why Alan wasn't here. Interesting. All right, new roll call, please.
Mayor Larkey,
Here.
Councilmember White,
Here.
Councilmember Thompson, Councilmember Pryan,
Here.
Councilmember Davidson, Councilmember McCallum,
Here.
Councilmember Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Lawson,
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I would also remind everybody that you do need to have your mics on and speak into the mics, please.
I was going to say that, but thank you.
I was going to say it too.
Yeah, because you're the biggest abuser. All right. No personal appearances. New business. A, motion approving the first reading of bill number 2024-18.
An ordinance approving a 5-year service agreement with IDEMIA Identity and Security USA LLC for live scan service subscription.
Present.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. You're up, Chief.
This is a 5-year service agreement to replace the Endemia Identity unit that we have in our corrections unit. It is a fingerprint scanner used by the police department when we process prisoners, inmates, even for other agencies when they check into our jail facility. And so this device is actually required by the Department of Justice. Our current machine is out of service warranty, and it's actually going to be out of date. And so this service agreement carries a new machine that is actually the best right now as far as the ones offered on the market.
Any questions? Go ahead.
I saw it was for 5 years. Do we plan on keeping it longer than that, or how's that work?
Yeah, the current machine has been in service for a lot longer than the service agreement, and it's been extended. The state of Missouri has actually awarded us that they will pay for the first year of this 5 years, so we just pay for the additional 4 years on the back end of it. It is entirely likely that this machine will have a longer service life, and then we'll come back with an additional service agreement in the future.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I don't think.
No.
Was it a negotiated contract? By that I mean, were any of the terms subject to change?
No, the state of Missouri does not offer any type of negotiation in regards to the machine. Department of Justice has an exclusive contract with this actual agency to produce this machine, and there's no negotiating with the states.
And the only reason I ask that is
Pull-
in reviewing the
Pull your
contract.
mic, pull your mic forward. It's
Okay,
not.
sorry. In reviewing the
you
contract,
go.
it appears that the contract is governed by the laws of the state of Delaware, and if there are any litigation regarding the terms of the contract, that would have to be in the state of Delaware as well. And that is just of concern, since that would be an additional expense to the city. I understand if that's what the state of Missouri requires. I just was curious about that.
Yes, Councilmember Johnson, typically the city always puts venue in the state of Missouri. There's also a Missouri law that would choice of law that would say that all political subdivisions of the state of Missouri can only be sued in the county in which the city hall is. But given that this is a non-negotiable, take it or leave it contract, that was not removed in this case.
That was what I was curious about. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion for approve resolution R 24-36.
A resolution approving a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Belton and the International Association of Firefighters Local Number 42.
Present.
Second.
We have a motion in 12 seconds. Who's speaking? You?
Good evening, Council. I'm going to point out several things and go through this. There was a lot of moving parts to this. The first thing I want to point out is that we have a couple Scrivener's errors that need to be fixed that we will as a part of this. The first one is on page 24. It's 18.5 at point 1. It's the terms of the contract. It reads that it's going to start on April 1st of 24, or it's going to go through April 1st of 2024, and it's going through April of 2027. So we'll make that change. And the second one is on 25 I'm sorry, got my first one is on 24. Let me turn to the contract. My apologies. First one's page 24, 18.5.1. And under number 1, it says the matter shall be submitted to advisory arbitration at the request of either the city of Belton and of the union. It should read or the union. So thank you to Councilman McCallum for finding that fine print. And the second one is actually the date, and that's on it's on page 25. Under the terms, 25.1. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm searching. I apologize. I thought I was better prepared.
Page 28.
Page 28.
There we go, 28. I wrote page 25 because it's 25.1 is the point. So it reads that it will remain in effect until April 1 of 2024, and that's going to be changed to 2027. So, yeah, that's where I'm on. So we wanted to walk through some of the major changes in this, and we've had many CBAs now with Local 42. Typically, they last every 3 years. That's how we negotiated this one as well. The first one we're going to look at is section 4.1A. That's under staffing. And we changed the reading in the contract to read that there'll be 15 per shift maximum of union members. We want to remember that we also have a battalion chief each day, so that means our daily maximum number is going to be 16 total. Really, that's something we were already doing that didn't reflect in the contract. The city and council have been gracious enough to already add us a person last year that was added and never really put into here. So from a budgetary standpoint, it didn't add anything new to this budget other than the raises and things. It's just adding it to the contract where it should have been to begin with. At 4.1B, this deals with minimum staffing levels. The former contract set that at 10 union members. We've increased that to 12, which would make a total minimum of 13 per day. What that's going to do is going to staff a fire engine on Station 1, a fire engine at Station 2, and that would dedicate 3 staffed ambulances. It's a need that we've been trying to fulfill for quite a while, and that still gives us a battalion chief as well on those minimum staffing days. The estimated overtime budget, it's going to go up a little bit because we are still working, and this is a transitional plan because we've been working for quite a while, as most of you know, or some of you have been here, that we've been sending people to paramedic school because we have a severe shortage, and that takes about 18 months to process that. So as we continue to bring more up, we'll phase this in this year so that we can guarantee that the city of Belton can have 3 ambulances staffed and ready to go at all times. And so because of that, it'll add a little bit more to overtime just because we're going to have to bring paramedics in because we don't have the properly trained ones yet. And so we would hope to see that go down a little bit through the next years, but honestly what we'll be looking to do as well is add another person in the future because increasing the minimum brings you up on that maximum, and so sick leave, vacation, and things like that really starts to cause a problem with having enough people without doing it with overtime. And it may be easier, I'm going to pause between each one of these so that you have a question, if you have a question on it now, we can answer that before we move on.
Any questions so far?
Next one was pretty easy. This was burial expenses. This is something that already exists in the city personnel policy book. It was increased a few years ago in the personnel, and this was just to reflect the changes in the personnel code that we already have. Hopefully, it's never a financial impact to us, obviously, but if it were to happen, it would be an increase of $5,000 over what it used to be.
That's 5.6, by the way.
Yeah. Section 8.2E. This is sick leave buyout. The city has also allowed for buyback of remaining sick leave through the years. This is adjusting it a little bit within the contract that you get paid if you qualify and work enough years. On this one, it's going to qualify members if the wording says members who qualify for and retire or receive a line of duty disability pension or dies while active within the fire department. So they get that 50% buyout. What we did here is increase the level of many of hours that they would get paid for. The old contract would pay up to 732 hours. This one would be 1,000 hours, and that would be the threshold that they could get paid out. For FY25, it has, unless we have a surprise of somebody leaving, it has no expected impact, but it will impact future budgets, and all that's going to depend on exactly who that person is, what's their rank, what's their current pay, and how many hours that they have. But those are things that we'll evaluate at budget time each year. It's kind of hard sometimes. We can't just poll them and say, are you retiring? But we start to get a good feel for it, and we try to plan for that at the beginning of that fiscal year.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
And Joe, this is probably a question for you. I know back some time ago, we were talking about Brett's managing me. The incentive, the sick leave incentive. And I know that we spent a good deal of time debating whether we wanted to encourage people to come in while they're sick. Was that ever resolved? And that's just a question that I had in the back of my brain that I remembered you guys talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't want to encourage, or want to encourage folks to use sick leave if they need to use sick leave. We don't want to incentivize. The main thing that we changed when it comes to the sick leave is there was a policy in place where if they didn't use sick leave for the entire year, they got an extra day off, and that's not part of this at all.
So that doesn't include the fire, because that's what they're getting as well, but that's a whole different.
That was different. That was a separate
Okay,
issue.
and
that
I
we
just
addressed,
wanted, I
yes.
just wanted to clarify
And it's
that. I
still
didn't know.
included in here. That
I
is
saw
different
that,
than
yeah.
what we were talking about, but it has been included for several of the CBAs,
Right.
and it remained in this one.
And I just was
Okay.
curious, because I know that you had addressed it before for the city,
Correct,
and I just
correct.
didn't know if this
Yeah.
was, okay,
No,
thank you.
It's still in there.
Next is, I'm sorry?
To add to this sick leave payout thing, there are members that have more than 1,000 hours. The city just caps the payout when they retire or separate service at 1,000. So there's some that have 1,900 hours of sick leave.
Well,
Just the city
correct.
caps their payout is what we're doing here.
And so the max will now be 2,000 hours they can have to get credit for because they get 50% of that. So
Okay, next one is 10.2 on page 14. That's holidays. This was, again, just a cleanup. The city had approved Juneteenth a year or two ago as one of the city holidays, and so it was just added to the list for the fire department. The actual budget expense was already kind of figured into the salary part of it. Firefighters get it a little bit differently, where staff that work, a 40-hour work week typically just get the day off. But many years ago, they negotiated, and each firefighter gets 8 hours of pay for each holiday is how that works.
Any questions?
Next is 11.1 for clothing. There's two different things there. Under A on page 15, last year we had already added full dress uniforms for our firefighters. Those did not include caps, and there was a request to add those. So we did that. That's going to be pretty much a one-time impact on the budget of about $5,300. The only time that it's going to be an additional is if we, add more people to the fire department, or if we end up hiring somebody that has some kind of strange-sized head that won't fit in the stock that we have.
Trust me, it's possible.
It is possible. The next one is 11.1C. No, it shouldn't have been C. It was actually the boots. It is C. It's on the next page. I was looking, it's on page 16 for footwear allowance. It has been $125 in years past, and that wasn't even a reimbursement. That was just a direct payout each year. It was increased to $250 per year, but it is now a reimbursement. They'll have to go ahead and pick them, purchase them, supply us with receipts on that, and they can be reimbursed up to that much each year.
Any questions?
This is really minute, but I'm just curious now. With that, does it specify how many? So if they buy like 10 pairs for $250, they're good for them, right? Okay.
That is correct. They have an allowance up to $250, and as long as they're producing something that fits the uniform policy. For instance, some of our folks will wear boots with their pants, but we also have shorts that we can wear. So obviously, boots are they wear tennis shoes with those, so they can purchase more than one pair. Just is capped at $250.
I was simply curious.
And that cost increase was about $6,000 for the union. Next is under insurance. It's section 12.4. That's on page 17. This is a brand new addition this year for them, adding the firefighters to the Missouri Firefighter Cancer Trust. This was developed in the state of Missouri in 2019. What it does is it's pretty much an insurance policy that if they contract one of the presumptive cancers as listed in the Missouri state statutes, they can qualify for this. And so we can pick different coverages of 100, 200, and 300,000. How the contract read is that the city would be willing to pay up to $200 per person per year. It currently is $165 to give them the highest level of coverage. And so even though they're presumptive, there is still difficulties sometimes getting it linked to workman's comp, and that's a lengthy process. So this helps them offset some of those bills when they're off. It also, if they actually are awarded this and they qualify under this, if they were to get it approved under work comp, it actually subtracts. So their work comp would reduce by how much ever this Missouri Trust has already paid them. They can't kind of double dip on that. And so the cost of that annually would be $7,500. There are possibilities it'll go up. We don't have a good track record on it. It's pretty new. They initially put $5 million in it. They're asking for more to be approved this year because it looks like it may expand into things like mental health treatments and things like that. So any questions on that one? Next one is pay under section 22.2. That's on page 26. And so we worked diligently. We're trying to keep up with the competition of other local fire departments and attracting people who don't necessarily like to be attracted to this business anymore. And so we worked on a different pay scale that's going to kind of crunch and compress itself during this 3-year contract. And so they also wish to go ahead and have their COLAs built into that as well, and that did happen at a 2.5% rate each year for the 3 years that it's in. And total, because we don't just look at salaries on that, when you increase salaries, of course, the benefits are going to go up. So that increase looked like $360,816 being one of the biggest obvious things that we had to fund for this year for that.
I have a quick question. That is a budget impact. That will not be a budget amendment, correct?
It will be a budget amendment.
It will be a budget
Correct.
amendment.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My recollection is that we had 18-year progression. Is that correct? And you said it's been compressed, because that's
Yeah, so
good to hear. From my experience was that the firefighters were complaining about that exactly. So hopefully that'll help us with the retention. Just curious now, how short is it? How much should we compress
So
that?
year one it'll go to 16 years. Year 2, it goes to 14. Year 3, it'll go to 12.
Okay, awesome.
So we do hope that makes an impact as well. We think it will.
Essentially, just to follow up on that, essentially when we're compressing that, that's going to create a natural raise for the firefighters each year as well, because you're compressing the same amount of range into fewer steps. And so that raise, in addition to the COLA, is essentially the raise that we've negotiated with them for this contract.
And like, I'm not saying we need to spend a bunch more city money by any means, but what I'm getting at there is I heard from everyone I talked to at Fire that they could go down the road to just about any direction and have a shorter pay progression and thus get more money. So it sounds like it's a win for us ultimately from a retention
I think
standpoint.
the way our current, even our 18-step model is set up, we're competitive on the wages at the lower level and at the higher level, but the problem was that taking so many steps to what they call top out or cap out, and there are a lot of other departments around us, almost all of them around us, that have lowered the number of steps so that way they can top out quicker, and so that's, to be competitive, we had to essentially make this type of amendment, and I think we're comfortable with this because it helps us to also. 12 is still a little high compared to most around. So some are as low as 9 or 8 years, which but then once you've been here for 8 years, you top out and all you get is cost of living. There's no, unless you get a promotion or go to a different rank, you can't earn any more money other than the cost of living increase. And so we thought that this kind of balances both ends a little bit to go to 12.
Yep, makes perfect sense because to your point, there's some incentive then to stick around, right? So.
Sure. Yeah, we think it's going to do well, and we were happy with the results of this entire negotiation. That does bring up one other point. It wasn't really a Scrivener's error, but an addition we were going to make. I do believe your packets, it included the pay scales, I believe, and there was some talk that maybe they didn't want any confusion, and that we really listed it out differently so it could be more readily available to folks when they look at our pay scales, because we kind of undersell ourselves because we have built-in overtime that doesn't really get factored in as the stated salary. And so we just put estimated under all of those on each pay scale where it says annual OT and annual regular and annual total, just because those fluctuate a little bit based on time you may take off. They're not guaranteed. So there was thought there could be some confusion, so we added that to those pay scales.
Clarify when you say built-in overtime for
Okay.
those that don't know.
The firefighters are designed on a 212-hour work period for 28 days, and when the city figures that, that's a total of 2756. And when you divide that by 26 pay periods, it gives them 4 hours just in the regular, but some fire departments give Kelly days, and a Kelly day is like a bonus day off. We don't offer that because we're smaller. It's a little bit harder to schedule those and get them. So basically what they earn is they earn overtime on those. It becomes kind of a regular pay. So it's not built in. It's additional overtime that they wouldn't have expected. Does that clarify it?
Is that it? Go ahead.
I just want to make one note and one comment for the council. This was negotiated. Myself, Chief Sapp, and the other person that was present during the negotiations was our labor attorney, Jeff Place, and he is considered the guy to do the management side of labor negotiations for cities. He does them for a lot of cities throughout the metro area. And he ensures that we're being competitive and that we're not giving away too much, and that, you know, that we're looking out for the taxpayers' best interest in addition to balancing that best interest of the union. So we're really confident that we did our due diligence in this negotiation to get the best deal for both the firefighters and for the residents.
Any more questions? Go ahead.
Sorry, and Chief Sapp already knows what I'm going to ask here, but because I talked to him a little bit about this ahead of time, and you know, appreciate the hard work. I know I know what negotiations are like, but I think this is something I want to ask just because I think it's important to highlight publicly. So, can you tell me how many grievances we typically have annually?
Since I've been promoted in July 2019, we've had one grievance. I really can't vouch 100% before that, but I've been here since 1997, and I only remember maybe 2 or 3 at the most through those years.
And then the follow-up question is, how many of those grievances turn into arbitration?
None. To my knowledge, we've never had an arbitration in the city of Belton with the local 42.
I think that highlights that we are very clearly working with the union, and I think that's a good thing. And I just, like I said, wanted to highlight and point that out publicly. I think that needs to be noted.
If you don't mind following up on that point, yeah, negotiations were very cordial. It was very much people working together to do the best thing for everybody involved. And so I think that the spirit of negotiations was very well received from our end anyway.
Anybody else? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. No consent agenda, communications from city council. You were up.
Just want to say thanks to the voters of Ward 1 and appreciate the opportunity to be of service to the city and of the constituents, and look forward to working with everyone on the council.
You're next.
So I'm going to say congratulations to the new faces. Look forward to talking to you more, working with you more, and congratulations.
I just want to thank all the new members also. Appreciate all the hard work. Looking forward to working with all of you. Thanks.
Okay, I have a couple things. I'll start with parks. The Spring Craft Show is coming up on April 20th from 9 to 3 at High Blue. My favorite cruise nights are back on April 27th on Main Street. And the Farmers Market is full. That starts on May 2nd, 4 to 7 at Assembly of God Church. And Carry A Nation Days is coming up May 31st through June 1st, and there are still some vendor spots available. I will say with the Carry A Nation Days, they're using the same 5K course that they just used last Friday for the Belton Educational Foundation Glow Run. And it was a fun and challenging course. Maybe not challenging for actual runners, but for me it was. So your results may vary. I'll just mention quickly that a resident that I got to know through my service on council, and she served on the Code Enforcement Advisory Council, passed away recently. And so Carrie White, I don't know if anybody knew her, but I just found out that she had passed away. So just acknowledging her service to the city and kind of what a great neighbor and resident she had been to interact with. And then lastly, on a lighter note, I got to meet with a high school class today, and they had pitched me on the idea of a youth commission, so similar to the other boards and councils and commissions we have in town. They hammered out some details that they would like to see happen, but I'm just going to put it out there for the rest of council. Basically, anyone 13 through 18 who either attends Belton schools or lives within the city limits of Belton would be able to apply for a position on this board, and much like the council, it would be 9 seats. They'd like to appoint a chair and a vice chair and meet maybe monthly and potentially during school hours based on the teachers kind of sign off on this. And then they would come before the council and present topics that are really of, interest to them or top of mind, and some pretty heavy stuff. These kids have a lot on their minds. So I told them I would take this request back to the folks that could make it happen, and we'll see if we can. So hopefully I'm seeing a lot of nodding. I'm seeing a lot of smiles. So we'll put that in Joe's hands, and I'll connect him with the teachers I worked with and see how this goes. Thank you.
You're up.
Also like to welcome the new members, and there is a list of all our cell phones, so don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no silly questions. I certainly asked my fair share when I started, so looking forward to working with you.
Did you send that list out today?
I'll send it out tomorrow.
Okay.
Caught her.
I'm just excited to be here, and I can't wait to learn from everyone on the council. I know there's gonna be a lot to learn, so thank you.
I am very excited to be in Rob Powell's seat. He was a great friend and a great mentor, and I'm going to miss him. And I have a lot of questions that I'm never scared to ask questions. So I'm also very excited. After I looked at the turnout for Ward 4 and the city as a whole, I'm very excited about a youth council, because that's who we need to get fired up about this. It doesn't need to be the grandmas making the decisions. It needs to make the people with kids making decisions. So I'm very excited about that. I have a lot to learn, so please be patient with me. And every time Brett makes an old joke, I'm going to pinch him. So.
My turn,
You're
can't
up.
remember.
I know you're old.
So we had a, I hate this term, but homeless committee meeting. We began looking at different options that we would want to consider moving away from just emergency focus to more long-term planning. So we're beginning to get in that process. So I encourage people to be involved. And on a lighter note, someone steal that phrase, I'm not representing the council with this, but I would welcome the Kansas City Chiefs if they want to come to Cass County and Belton. So that's it.
We can do it. All right, so first I got congratulations to everybody that's new. Welcome aboard. If you need anything, everybody should have my phone number, so just call. The Youth Council, I'm pretty excited about that. The school board, we actually have a student that actually comes and sits with the school board meetings every time, and she gives us a big, long program of what's going on in the school, so it's pretty good. So I even like this even more, so we'll have more people, so I'm good with that. So the only other thing I got in, my Mayor Pro Tem has decided not to do it no more. So according to the charter of the city, that we have to do it every year anyways, but Allison doesn't want to do it anymore, so I thank you for your service of doing that. Appreciate that. So we need to elect a new Mayor Pro Tem. So according to Charter 3.4. So
Motion to elect Councilmember Pryan to Mayor Pro Tem.
Second.
okay, we got a motion and a second.
Who
Any
was the second?
discussion? What?
Richardson? I thought you were motion. Oh, thank you.
Got that clarified? All right, any discussion?
It is confusing.
Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. City Manager.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I want to take this opportunity to personally and formally thank Angela Kraft for her service as well, and reiterate what I said last meeting when I thanked Council members Powell and Goff for their service, that it is very easy for folks to be disgruntled or unhappy with what we do at the city. It takes a lot of guts, it takes a lot of heart, and I really appreciate the fact that people are getting involved and running and sitting on the council and making a difference in the community. And I extend that same respect to our new council members. I welcome you, council members Davidson and Johnson and Thompson. I will be glad to work with you in every capacity moving forward. Our staff is excited to work with you as well. So I just want to give you a little bit of advice. Buckle up. We've got a lot of things going on. So that's all I've got.
All right, is that it? No items for review discussion, so I would entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute. Dang it. You got anything? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? We stand adjourned.